Zoobity bop bow, zoobity bum ba zabba ba. Hey, welcome back to Karandrin role playing. My name is Kevin Manus Pinnings, also known as Cracked Palantir. And if you're here, it's because it's episode 62 of Brise's Tale. And as always, my good buddy Max is here to play the role of Brise. Max, say hello to the glorious people.
Hello, everybody. Hope you are having a wonderful Wednesday night.
That's right. We're doing some good old fashioned exploring these sessions with occasional, no doubt, interruptions from various other agents and elements. So to I mean, there's not much of a recap we can do other than we're exploring a abandoned goblin mansion now fallen to ruins. This is his third or fourth trip, or her third or fourth trip back. It's a very large estate. She is continuing to explore the central mansion, which itself is a long rectangle with a giant courtyard in the center. And last time he had a rather short but violent battle with a large toad creature that whose mates actually just about killed her last time. Not last time, the last conflict they had with these creatures. That was a hell of a battle.
Close, yeah. So that was quite a bit better.
Yes, this
So
one was.
close.
Yeah, it's the creatures are clearly very dangerous here. It actually broke Brise's leg, and had she been not had a potion of major healing, she would have been in considerable trouble. We know that this mansion was originally built by an ancient race of humans that lived in this area, um, and um, um, and then was later taken over by the goblins.
Right.
Brise has encountered the ancient race of humans, the remnants of their culture before. And all of this ties loosely back into Verlag's descendants. And anyone who's been watching us for any length knows that Verlag is this ancient sorceress and queen from about 5,000 years ago, made a deal with the devil and then captured the devil. She has imprisoned a demon lord above a volcano. The demon's name is Crowlum, and she now draws power from Crowlum and is now a threat to the whole region as she attempts to sort of make connections, gather armies, and clearly on a march, so to speak, to rebuild her ancient empire. But those matters have been set on the back burner while other powers work at them, and Brise can get back to exploring. Physically, I know it's sort of late afternoon, mid afternoon, right? And where were you physically? I forget. Where were you physically in the ruins?
We had just gathered the treasure from the Toad's hoard. Well,
So
not their hoard, but basically all the pile of treasure, all the stuff they had discarded.
right, it's just a regurgitation pile. Yeah, Rollmaster, I try to do very realistically in that sense. Karandrin, I try to do very realistically in that sense. The only reason you find stuff is either the creature is intelligent and making use of it, or they're discarding it, as trash,
Right.
because it's just stuff that they can't eat. And so a lot of things you fight will not have anything.
Right.
Um,
I like Obi-Wan's suggestion there of using they them pronoun. Just say they, so then you won't get confused.
That's true. I am
a
very
little purple
scatterbrained.
emoji too for the gender neutral.
That's right. Despite my ancient appearance, I do try to be gender conscious and non-binary conscious and all that. I will, however, fail. So, you're going to have to forgive me. And if you can't forgive me, I'm okay to offend you.
Might as
It's a
well.
very convenient system I have worked out here. So,
Can't forgive him. Click off the video. No, please.
yeah, how hard is that?
We need more people watching.
It's like David Spade's line from Just Shoot Me. He said, "Oh, I just remembered, you're boring, and my legs work." I mean,
My legs are.
right? I mean, it's
Yeah, leave us playing, but walk out of the room.
exactly. I'm just gonna leave. This
In
is
your
the
house.
longest. Brees's tail just trails off with me leaving, and so
Oh.
who's that guy who early in web days he had cameras all over his house watching him all the time, and he would just live stream his whole life.
I don't know that.
Yeah, I
Too
don't know if
much
it's still
over.
going on. I
Yeah.
was reminded of it the other day, and I was like, I never went and watched the guy, and I don't know if it's still doing it, but it was. I mean, it was years ago.
Right. Seminal kind of internet days.
Yes.
Now it's just reality TV. Like,
I mean, it really is. I mean, obviously unscripted and unproduced, which is a rarity today. But, you and I had talked about whether or not you had done the first floor rooms in the mansion
right.
that contained this sort of magma-like earthworm that.
Yes. And I believe we came to the conclusion that we explored up to the earthworm
Right. And it
somewhere
occurred to
and
me,
then not the rest.
not the interiors, what I've realized, because you basically scouted all the way around.
Right.
So those outer rooms, you have to look back on your notes, but I think they're all done. You may want to go revisit them.
Okay. Yeah.
But the interior rooms you've not done.
Okay.
So, and which is, I don't know, 3 or 4 rooms, probably the sets of suites. Although here, as you remember, in the front part of this house, you had a lot of very, luxury rooms. You had big libraries, big
Right.
parlors for people to just gather in and that sort of thing. There are two, as you remember, there's 2 major ballrooms in the front 2 corners, front 2 corners of the house.
Yeah. I do remember that. Yeah. I was about to say I do investigate all the outer rooms, the 2 ballrooms. I think that is done there. So yeah, quite a large estate for sure.
Yeah. Um, um, so, and just to remind our viewers, there's also 3 smaller manors in the northwest corner of the estate, overlooking a different side of the valley, and there seems to be a lot of political alliance enmeshed in this culture, such that if a house fell to ruin, that is a noble family fell to ruin, it was seen as some sort of political alliance. You could actually invite them to your estate until they could rebuild their fortunes, and it was a way of gaining political ties with them, it might even be some sense of conspicuous consumption, which you can go look that up on Wikipedia. It's a fascinating anthropological thing, but basically showing benevolence to make yourself feel better and seem grander, even though you gain nothing else from the exchange. So the assumption is that each of those houses represented a different family that this mannish civilization took under their wing, no pun intended, since they always use bird symbols as symbols of their houses. So there do, you are sort of, as you know, in this, just north of the gazebo of the
Right.
of the thing. It's difficult. You can see the top of the gazebo. The grasses here are 5 to 7 feet high, brush and everything. They're just completely taken over this. So if you were to face north, face the main entrance of the home of the estate, then of the main estate, then to your left would be the rooms that you haven't explored. You can't really see them through the brush.
Right. The courtyard side. Yeah.
You believe that the courtyard is now clear, but it's an overgrown size of a football field. It's really difficult to know.
Right.
You also know that behind you and to the right is a room that's literally a rat's warren of some very unnatural looking rats, red-eyed, about the size of a small dog, um, red spikes along their
Yeah,
tail.
we killed one of them last time, but there's a few more in
Yes,
there. So
um,
scurrying about.
right.
Grease the exterminator.
That's right. And certainly, since if they sense the frog is gone, the toad is gone. Well, less activity in the area generally will embolden them.
Right.
But by the same token, they might be nocturnal, so it might not be
Yeah.
an issue.
Yeah.
Um,
So first order of business is I did want to investigate their burrow just to kind of peer down there, which I think was
it's
it
in it's in the very northwest corner.
yeah. So I was going to meander toward that, kind of have a peek down there and listen and see what I can hear if there's any more froggies
There,
about.
there are trails leading from this area to the north.
Yeah.
There are three. No telling which one goes where, but first things first is your state of readiness. What do you want
Sure.
in your hands as you're going? And something I should have pointed out ages ago to you, and this is totally my bad, is that a a coif, that is the chain hoods,
Right.
uh, they inherently make hearing more difficult.
Oh, I think you have mentioned that.
Okay,
Okay.
so if you want better, like really, the best opportunity to hear while you're creeping around, no quaff.
Right.
That's
Right.
the trade-off. So, what would you like to do?
No, I'll keep my quaff on for now, and
Okay.
we're gonna have. So with my newly healed broken leg, I'm a little afraid of putting weight on it. I guess the idea is I'd want to, I don't know, be the best weapon. Just kind of maybe spear two-handed. Feels like I could. I don't know if it would matter.
I mean, you've learned that. I mean, your shield is too important to do without.
Right, right. So
You
I
know,
have to have the shield. Might as well have the spear in another hand.
right?
Um,
Unless you're just going to go straight for spell stuff, or I mean, another thing is just to avoid confrontation. Like, is
right,
there
and that's what I was thinking. It's like I want to emphasize escaping if I do run into something.
right? And honestly, you could, you've only got 2 or 3 hours of daylight left. Your leg is already bugging you. You could head back to camp and just revisit the next day.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna do that after I looked at the burrow, but yeah,
Hmm.
maybe it's better just to do that now. And what am I have a stupid familiar. I'll send Milani over there and just perch next to it and see what she hears or sees. Here I am, hemming and hawing.
Lands. Um, turns as she flies. You discern that the center path is the one that leads to the burrow. Um, I mean, you can go the other one that's to your left and ahead, but it's much more convoluted. Um, she sort of circles above the burrow. Um, there is sound in there, and you notice that as she's circling, she goes higher over the burrow, and as you're really focusing on her, you feel that there's heat coming from the burrow.
Oh. Huh.
And you realize way too much heat.
Yeah.
And your mind turns immediately to the earthworms of, blazing heat,
Right.
one of which you encountered.
Boy.
Now, for anyone who didn't see the episode in which we encountered this creature, not really hostile, but unfortunately, they're burning hot and curious.
Dangerous. Yeah.
Um,
And
they,
the trail was basically a bunch of cracked tile, melted doors, things like that.
yeah, I mean, it just goes through shit.
Accidentally destructive. Yeah.
Yeah. It's doesn't even seem to be territorial, really. It seems to be if you mess with it, it's going to mess with you. And but the last one was curious. We also learned that a sleep spell kind of makes it kind of, I don't know, dazed,
Right.
a little out of it. It doesn't really put it to sleep, but it's enough to slow it down at least.
Yeah.
It destroyed a very powerful magical spear that you had.
Yeah.
Um, just touching it to investigate it, it melted enough of the metal that the enchantment could not hold on.
Right. Right.
Um, so, what would you like to do?
Okay, so we know that that thing's down there. I think it's time to retire and kind of just relax the rest of the day. Now I could just go into one of the rooms here on the second floor that I've already explored
Absolutely.
and pull up there. Yeah, I mean I've got all my gear with me, um, so yeah, let's try that. Well, how did I even get over here? I think I. Oh yeah, I went back. I went through the servant's staircase, I guess. So I'll
You could just come and cut over to one of the rooms
yeah,
you've not yet explored.
yeah, that would be the fastest way, I guess. So let's do that. We'll just
Send
from where I am,
Nalani.
kind of towards the middle. Yeah.
We'll send Nalani ahead, right,
Mhm.
and just fly her directly to that side. Um, roll for me.
13.
Okay. Being quiet, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
Roll the stalk.
69.
Pretty good job. Um, you have her peering into one of the rooms. It's a very large room, hearth at both ends. You're guessing it's a parlor, and it must be across from either the library or one of the games rooms.
Right.
Um, you make it through. Nothing really of interest, sort of in passing, walking the 20 or 30 yards quietly. Uh, Nalani is sitting there waiting on you. The doors are closed, but the curtains for these sort of French doors, they're open, but the doors themselves are not. You try the door; it is unlocked.
Mm.
Things in there seem in pretty good condition, but it's largely empty. Um, there seems to be two heavy tables that are elbow high, sort of cocktail tables, maybe you might say.
Sure.
Um, definitely of goblin styling in your experience.
Mm.
So they're a little short for you to be leaned on comfortably and whatever. No other real furniture. You'll be sleeping wrapped up in your blanket and your cloak,
Right.
probably.
That's fine.
Yeah. Um, close the door. There's a workable latch. There are drapes here. They seem in remarkably good shape. You know, um, if the flue is not clogged, you could make a fire if you wanted, and but after all these years, it's probably clogged. You'll probably smoke yourself out.
Yeah.
Um, so the room is really large to be cozy, but um,
But it'll do. I'll hear something coming from the other.
exactly. So you could check the other door and latch it. It's in good shape. So the drapes, you draw those closed. Um,
And I'll do a holy lock on both doors. We'll just make it what is it? Level 1 spell, right? Yeah, level 4. On
On
both.
the outer doors or the double doors that are lead to the hall.
Both of them, the hall and
So, so 3 doors. You have 2 sets of doors out.
oh, because it's right. It
And
wouldn't be the whole.
and then you've got a door. You got a set of double doors out here, and you have double French doors leading out to the thing, so that your company can spill out into the courtyard for
Well, right.
games.
No, okay, right. So I don't want to lock the bedroom door. I just want to lock the courtyard doors and the hallway door.
There is no bedroom.
Oh, I thought that's what you meant by
This is a parlor.
right. Okay.
So this is a large parlor meant for large gatherings, not for a single guest. Yeah.
So
There's a set of double doors.
The double doors will require 2 holy locks to fully lock. Is what you're saying?
There are 2 sets of double French doors.
Okay.
Spaced well apart.
I see.
So
I get it now.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I can see.
Right,
I can see
right.
how I was not clear.
Yeah,
So
no. I was thinking there was only one. Okay.
Right, yeah. So doors to the courtyard, there are 2 sets of double doors. French doors, to which you have now drawn the curtains, so things will be less curious. You can, certainly seal those with magic locks.
So there's 7 doors.
There are 19 doors, and there's 3 of you. Now, which one?
What is the key to a skeleton's door?
Exactly.
I'll holy lock all of them. Just the basic level 4. Should just be 3 spells.
And this is you casting, or you using from a tome, scroll?
I'll use casting. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's just do one roll for all 3.
Okay. 4. All right.
All right. Roll again.
Good way to end the day. 85.
It's lovely. That's lovely. Roll again.
24.
Okay. That's fantastic. There's a
break my other leg.
Why don't you roll for me? We'll see which door you started on.
Okay. 95.
So you started.
I couldn't have rolled that when I cast this.
I know, right? 8 hit points. You're knocked backwards.
Ow.
You're dazed. You've lost the power points. You've lost 12 exhaustion points.
Wait, so did it just cast one spell though?
Essentially, we just say you fumbled on the first one.
Yeah. Oh, but 12 exhaustion. Okay, gotcha.
And right. And how many power points do you have?
I have 28.
Right. So now you have 27. And now you have 26. And now you have 25. And now you have 24. And you realize that something has gone wrong magically. And you're like, you feel like you're being drained.
What the?
And you start, roll for me. Actually, we'll see how smart you are there, kiddo. You're actually pretty smart.
72.
You are pretty smart. You think, what if I've damaged the spell store on that sword?
Ooh. Yikes.
And now it's pulling all magic in to itself. And so you quickly find it. You pull it out. It is not warm. It is not cold. But it's humming. Like it wasn't humming before. And roll for me.
46.
Cracks begin to form in it.
Oh, no.
And you realize this thing is shrinking.
What in the?
What would you like to do?
I'm gonna throw it to the other side of the room. Get away from me. Stop sucking out magic.
After you throw it, you actually can feel when you're sort of out of its effect. And you're like, I have to stay within out of 20 foot from that thing. I can't be within 20 foot of that
Oh
thing.
my gosh.
Um,
I don't need a 10-foot pole. I need a 20-foot pole.
you do. So you tossed it basically to the far fireplace.
Hmm.
Um, and you're like, there's probably, other faint magics around that they've done here and there. Um, and it'll probably continue drawing in whatever power.
But you would think once it fills up, like, I don't know if it'll stop or continue. Self,
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're down to 23 power points.
Okay.
You feel odd. You just never had that,
Yeah.
involuntary expenditure of power points where it's just being taken from you. You find yourself sort of like just like rubbing yourself,
Right.
just trying to get the willies out of you. You love the willies in you, but um, I mean, you can hear it making noise, like just a very faint vibration. Um, you kind of edge closer just to watch it. I mean, you're so confused. You're sort of
Yeah.
confused and fascinated.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Um, it's definitely going slower. It's definitely shrinking though, but obviously, this thing is not. It's not like some magic items you've heard of that can shrink and they do so without harm. This thing has apparently crudely obtained this property,
Right. Like
and it's
folding
not.
on itself. Yeah.
Yeah, and so you're just
Karandrin's first black hole.
exactly.
First of many.
Oh, come on, you've seen me play with Josh. That's a black hole.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Maybe we'll actually room in another room instead. Spend the night in another
well,
room.
you do feel. I mean, like where that boundary. I mean, it was so weird as you threw
True.
it, as it sailed. You felt it diminish, and then you're
Right.
like, oh, it was when it passed that table. That's when it. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
was weird. A clear demarcation of its area of effect.
Mm.
You're definitely going to sleep on the far side of it from it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, this room is about 50 feet long. And so, um, um, I mean, you could rush over there and just toss it out in the courtyard, let the rats have it.
Yeah. Well, like you said, if I know where the demarcation is, and I still am curious about it, I'll kind of just observe it.
Right. You do get to sort of watch the
Yeah.
phenomenon, um, your desire is sort of knock one of these tables down and push it up against there. Just, like if it were to catch fire or something,
Right.
you would have some sort of shielding. If it pops, if there's metal shards flying, but these things are bolted to the ground.
Yeah.
So there's two of them evenly spaced. They're big enough for 2 to 3 people to, kind of lean up against and talk and have conversations.
Right.
They're carving with images of goblin women at play by a river. There are boats on the river, and that's sort of along the I don't know what do you call that, I guess the vertical facing of this very thick table. So not the top, but its edge around.
Right. The lip of the table.
Yeah. And so now you're free to, check on it check on the sword periodically.
Sure, yeah.
And you do need to decide whether you're going to continue with the unlock, just risk it for now.
I mean, yeah, we'll try it again. I'm sure that won't happen. This time I'll use my channeling helm though, because I'm starting to run low on my PowerPoints. So just do 3 unlock spells on each of the doors using
3 unlock spells, 1 on each door, not 3 on each door.
Yeah, 3 on each entryway.
That's right.
Each exit, yeah.
That's right. So we'll do a single roll again for them, And yeah.
Okay. Oh, Kevin! I haven't even done anything in this session yet. They're like,
I think you've done plenty, honestly.
so I was using the channeling, adder helm. So, however,
Yeah. So what'd you roll?
1.
Okay.
I'm sorry. 1 followed with 2 zeros. That's
My bad. That is my bad. All right. So roll. Roll. See how bad the critical. The failure is.
27.
Okay.
Last session, I was casting spells left and right. This time, I'm just.
Well, Quinn's rooting for you as usual.
Yeah.
Oh,
Honey,
and
I shrunk the sword.
and gang, I should hop over and drop the. Oh man, that is wrong. Magical meltdown. That's so true.
Magical mystery.
That's right.
Magical mystery meltdown.
That's right. All right, there's our stuff. Karandrin Chernobyl. That's right. So, um, um, 8 exhaustion.
Oh my god.
The channeling adder, your helm, it apparently did not care for that fumble.
Or about.
It is still magical, but is not functioning.
Oh my god.
You hope that that's temporary. You have heard of such things being temporary, that there is no foolproof magic that. So right now it's a useful ashtray. And if you get into a fight, you can put it on your head.
There you go. Hopefully you dump the ashes out before you do that.
Right, exactly. Unless they're because that's how Karandrin rolls. But
where's my? I have a little strike through for when my magical items get disabled, and I just need to find where it is again. Anyway,
I'm trying to strike through this time. Maybe a question mark.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say strike through for now.
Right.
Work.
Okay. There we go. Change that up. So, I think you feel like you must be safe enough. You're still alive after all this crap.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to lock the doors normally. Relax. I don't need to deal with this.
Yeah, no problem. And just prop up against stuff.
I try to lock the door. My finger gets like stuck in it. I'm like, I just can't.
There was an interesting role playing system that Josh introduced me to, and the name of it escapes me. But it had a very interesting principle, which is there's no need to roll for success if there's no consequences.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That's a very interesting.
Yeah. Very good paradigm. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's so succinct. It's a succinct principle within role playing. So we'll just kind of roll through the evening.
Yep. I'll do if I could read from my book on Fae, of wings and things. I might read from that a little bit. Maybe flip through, see if I can find some info on these, specific, just the normal.
You absolutely find them.
Okay.
They're
in the book and they pop out.
Oh. Hello. Why did you close the book without checking? What is wrong with you? So yeah, you're really engrossed in reading. And here's they have numerous names in numerous cultures. They're believed to be the most widespread of the Fae. There is not a culture known, this book claims, um, that doesn't make reference to these very creatures.
Like when you read about like bats, it's like they're on every continent except Antarctica.
Exactly.
They are
Exactly.
everywhere except Antarctica.
Exactly. You know the most dangerous animal, man. Anyway, even on Antarctica.
Oh.
Um, um, Goblins regard them um, as pests and spies.
Hmm.
Um, they're seen sort of as a selfish nuisance and a bad omen. Um, the dwarves are very split on them. Um, you
Interesting.
know, farmers and shepherds and ranchers and so on consider them a very good omen. We'll leave them gifts of food and cakes, nuts and honey. Miners um, and um, dwellers in the dwarven holds um, are suspicious of them, believe them to be mischievous and trouble, and actively dissuade them and try to expel them from their mining in caves. Um, the mannish opinions of them vary greatly. Um, the northern men of the horse peoples, um, for the most part, regard them as benevolent, but there are stories also of them being killed by royal edict, and there being purges and so on against them. Whole forests burned down in an attempt to exterminate them.
Hmm.
Um, the southern men of Theaxia um, regard them um, generally as mischievous and mysterious. Um, the Pen and the Gravidans, the two desert nations, the two desert human nations, um, consider them benevolent, and if they see evidence of them, then they will leave offerings of water,
Hmm.
which
Oh,
of course
interesting.
is very precious to them. Um, they also will leave tiny gemstones for them. Um, and the orcs in the south consider them a delicacy.
I was about to say, what's it going to be about the orcs? Okay. And makes your stomach tingle.
Um, so, I mean, it really goes on. I mean, evidence is that um, that how you treat them is how you're going to be treated.
Hmm.
They are known to kill. Um, what's one of the more interesting arcane points about them is that their magic cannot be stopped by magic that tries to oppose it at time of casting.
Oh, interesting.
Um, you cannot interfere with their spell, and there are stories, and it sort of quotes a few in which the Fae have driven out dragons
Oh, wow.
because the dragons are unable to stop the magic of the Fae, and it becomes intolerable for the dragon to remain,
Right.
and they're driven free of their hordes, even in some stories. Um, and this question then of the power and the uniqueness of Fey magic makes them a target for researchers.
Right.
Um, so, um, so you read until dark. I mean,
Yeah.
you're just and you enjoy the crackling of the fire, and realize you didn't build a fire, and go look at the sword, uh, which is
That's a metallic smelling fire.
that's right. It's now, I mean, it's now shards that are stacked up on each other in a pile and are vibrating.
Okay.
Um,
This thing is glitching out of the matrix.
that's right. Um,
God.
and that at that thought, of course, um, you may remember having a conversation ages ago about the nature of enchanted items,
Yeah.
and that one of the aspects of it is the matrix of an enchantment is that which draws magic from the outside world so that it can be used perpetually.
Oh, okay. Right.
And you're like, that must be what I've damaged. And
Oh,
now it's drawing magic at an excessive rate and has nothing to do with this excess power.
right.
Um,
How magic is.
Take a moment, listen. You've been sort of engrossed for a while. You don't want to be caught unawares. There's no motion that you've heard. You remain fairly confident then that with the possibility of a second um, giant burning earthworm somewhere um, to the north of you and downstairs, um, um, that you must be alone. Well, of course, you've got the rats, but
Right.
the rats can have the place, so long as you can get those art
Here.
pieces loaded.
Right.
Um, so, you're beat. It's dark outside.
Yeah. Dinner, and I think get ready for sleepy time.
Yes. Um, man, bad day for magic. Well, or bad ending, bad magical ending. So,
So I haven't done this in a while because I haven't dipped into it really. But where is it? The spectacles of what are they called? Attainment. They're my PowerPoint store. I'm gonna store all my PowerPoints in there.
okay.
But I don't have enough to fill it up all the way. That's okay. That's how it'd be.
I get you. All right. You race a meal and take a swig of all your various water skins, and
Sample them.
that's right. Go spit it on the sword. Um, you just curl up in a corner, I guess. Probably, take out your extra clothes that you may have with you, and just make a pillow.
Yeah, I forgot. What is this like? This is May. I guess it should be kind of warming up. Warmer. But,
It would be in the valleys. It's a
right.
little chill. It's a little chill here. I mean, you're glad of your tent. With a heavier sleeping what's it called, bedroll. With a heavier bedroll, you wouldn't mind sleeping outside. Your face would probably get cold, but so you want to do an early break since we're putting you to bed right now?
Sure, yeah.
And then we'll come back and keep playing. So we'll move on to May Day.
I think Quinn found an answer to your, experience, your adventures having too much experience. The more magic items and stuff they get, the quicker they succumb.
It's like
The
Hawking's
adventurer was 50
radiation.
years old. He was level 60, but then he just
That's
died.
right. I think we've deduced now, looking at several players, that we gain about 2,000 experience. Wait, what was it? 2,000 a day? 2,000 a week? No, 2,000 a week. I think it is. No,
Yeah.
no, that
Well,
can't be right. No, it is
I think
2,000. I think it might be 2,000 a day.
it's 2,000 a day, but the variation is kind of
It's huge.
very wide. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's not a good bell curve. It's kind of more of a.
yeah, lots
Some
of
days I'm just like doing nothing, and other days yesterday
yeah,
I got probably 4,000 experience. So
right. Um, which means we could do the math and see like how long it takes you to get to X level and go,
on
huh?
average, yeah. Yeah.
Right. So you're 150 now. You're at 150 now at level.
No, 168.
I'm sorry, but you're at level 10. At level 10, you
Sure,
hit
yeah.
it.
150 is level 10.
Is that 140? 140 is level 10, right? And so
Oh, sure, yeah.
yeah. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. But so we're gonna take a break, guys. Thanks for joining us so far, and we'll he's Brise is gonna go to sleep and take her break, and then we're gonna come back and start a new day.
It'd be funny if I just went to sleep and you're like, Max, where?
That's right.
Reese
We'll
is
be
sleeping, but we will be back.
That's right. That's right. So just hang with us for a few minutes while we stretch our legs. We hope you do the same. We'll be back and continue the next day in Karandrin. Hello, everybody. Thanks for hanging with us for through the break. I hope you have a delicious beverage as I do. It's just water, but still
Delicious water.
delicious water. The best water you've ever had. I'll tell you that right now. Um,
Never had it, so I can't. It's
right.
not accurate.
So we're gonna do the three rolls that we do over the night. So do it.
24, 70, and 50.
All right. You wake up well before dawn. Um, um, there is definitely movement in the courtyard.
Great.
Um, you did dream last night. Um, it was um, it was a dream that if you didn't know better, because we know your character doesn't place a great deal of emphasis on dreams, but um, if you put such stock in such things, it certainly suggested that things are going to work out. You know, your parents were in it. Um, you know that some dark female figure is being dragged away in chains, but whether that's the Iron Empress or Verilag, you don't know. But you're like, you know what? I can't put my, I can't trust the dreams. I've got to do the work, right?
Right. Of
You
course.
know.
Yeah.
Um,
Don't you just hate it when like you do the like have a whole day in a dream and like you get all this
yeah,
stuff done, you wake up, you're like, oh crap.
yeah, yeah.
Or you go through some like really emotional thing and it's like I gotta do
Oh
that
yeah.
later, you know.
Oh, I hate that. Yeah, I had a dream that I cheated on my significant other,
Oh
and
no.
I
Yeah.
felt and not even in a major way, but in a definitive way. Like I kissed another girl is basically what happened,
Right.
and that was enough. And I felt so guilty. The feeling of guilt woke me up. Just
Wow.
the
Oh my
sickening feeling in my chest woke me up, and I felt like a dog the rest of the day. So stupid. Oh my god, felt so bad the rest of the day. Um, Motion is in the courtyard. Um, Difficult to tell where. You're not dressed in your armor or anything. You're
right.
barefoot and in some sort of night shift or something that we just kind of assume exists.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
what, if anything, do you want to put on? Or do you just want to? I mean, do you have any detection magic, or do you want to go just peek? What do you want to do?
Oh sorry, I gotta fill up my PowerPoints and stuff. Eight. Watching all that. Yeah, let's what detection magic do I have?
Oh, you healed yourself up. You weren't in. Oh, you had taken a little bit of damage from the spell, but
Yeah,
that
so
would have.
177 out of 185, so I'm assuming I'm healed up.
Yeah.
Permanent damage. I got all my PowerPoints are back too, as normal.
Yeah, you can tell it's earlier,
Okay.
based on the chill in the dark.
Right.
Earlier, it's before dawn, but you feel rested, so it feels like a good amount of time has passed. Um,
Yeah. So I pulled the curtains right so I can't see through them.
but you can peek, peek,
Yeah,
peek.
so I think I'll do that. I'll just sneak up there and kind of listen to see if this sounds near or far and then do a peeky peek if it's further away.
It is. It sure sounds like two-legged,
Hmm.
moving swiftly but quietly, um, coming up the courtyard grasses and brush. Um, being very quiet given the speed. You would discount it as wind, but the sound is so distinct and approaching that you can distinguish it from what wind there is.
Right.
What would you like to do?
I'm gonna go.
It's time to crack the door and let Nalani out.
Yeah.
Feed her.
So this thing's approaching. Let's back away and grab my spear and shield, and find a place to hide just in case it does come into.
There's not much place to hide here. You just got the two tables bolted.
Well, then I'll just grab my spear and shield and kind of stand away from the door, but ready, if someone tries to come through it. The door is locked, so they'd have to burst through it,
Yeah. Roll for me.
36.
Someone is speaking. They sound like they're sort of toward the middle of the courtyard. So maybe a little south of the gazebo that's in the northern center, right? Just roll again for me.
66.
The sound resumes.
It's too quiet to hear what they're saying.
Yeah. I should say the sound of movement resumes.
Okay.
Approaching the southernmost of the courtyard doors is tested. The latch is tested.
Okay.
And Verilag's voice says, "Girl, are you in there?"
Come and find me. Okay. Well, if it's her, I should make myself known. I'll put down my spear and shield and open the doors and kind of wave at her quietly, as to not attract any attention.
Well, I don't think it matters if you attract attention when you have her around.
That's true.
I mean,
I attracted a couple dragons, and she just waves. I still just habits say kind of whisperingly, "It's over here."
So you unlatch it and you open. She is petting in her arms one of the rats from the warren.
That's very appropriate.
Her wand is in the hand that cradles the rat.
Right. Still in that same kind of human body, right, that she had been in before.
Yes, the sort of very buxom, very attractive. Was she a redhead? I forget.
I think she was blonde, and I think she was a rod.
Maybe it was a rod. What's a rod? Maybe it's a rod. I have to look it up.
She can probably have all three if she wants.
I know. She doesn't have a favorite. She's fine.
It is a rod of changing.
That's right.
It uses that as a wand.
She says, "Put some clothes on, girl." She tosses the rat, back out to the courtyard, and she closes the door. And then she turns to the hearth curiously, and she, gestures you to go change, and she walks over to the hearth where the sword was. At least you're like, "Oh God, the sword."
Yeah.
And
peer at it.
You glance at it. The handle is all that remains and no longer seems to be vibrating. Are you going to go change clothes?
Yeah. Give her a quick apology. You're my queen, and caught me right as I woke up, and I'll put on my clothes, normal clothes.
She nods to you, from behind, and then turns back, and she's plucked the sword hilt from the thing, and she's examining it.
I'll just tell her I fumbled some magic and ended up damaging an item I came across. Thought I'd distance myself from it just in case.
It seems to have drained a good deal of magic from the area. She's sort of looking at it idly. You change clothes. Roll for me.
20.
Not at your best in the morning.
Yeah. Well, as soon as I'm ready, I'll face her and ask her how can I help, or what do you need?
How can you serve?
How can I serve? Yeah, there you go.
Oh, your time has not yet come. But one day, you and I shall do great things together.
Hey. Can't wait.
I trust you have been keeping yourself safe as we agreed, not taking any undue risks. I can't handle any more incompetence in my affairs. The fools working on my keep are dragging their feet as it is. And I needed a break from them, telling me this wall or that will be weeks in repair. That is why there is a division in life, my dear, between those of us who can wield magical power and those dullards who merely have the skill of their hands.
Interesting. That kind of goes against my beliefs, but
Oh, you're right. It does, right? I didn't even think about that. Diametrically.
Yeah.
And that's when, in your holy crusading moment, you slice her open with your spear.
I tell her I've been keeping as safe as I can. I've been trying to keep out of trouble. Is how I word it. And
let's roll for your poker face, because
okay.
obviously you have a lot of things to feel guilty about.
Right, but also 66.
She does study you for a long time. She says you must learn to be more comfortable among your betters. You've done nothing to offend me. You're like, you don't know. You don't know, woman. Ooh. And you have done also as I've asked and kept an eye out for any animal or person that shows a natural interest in you. Anyone asking unusual questions of you?
I say nothing out of the ordinary. Yeah, aware of.
Why don't you roll for that? Okay. Delivery.
33.
Roll for me.
95.
She is angry and can tell you're lying.
Okay.
There is no need to keep the truth from me. She takes her rod out. She's looking around the room.
Okay.
Has there been some creature speaking to you? There's no need to be afraid. It can be dealt with.
Let me think in my past encounters if I could bring something up. That would be a good cover up. I mean, I mentioned that,
Well, only Oshekra.
not that. I mentioned the Fae. I said, well, I mean, there were some Fae I was conversing with earlier that have been around the area.
The troublesome Fae are not what I am talking about. I mean, a creature that could not otherwise talk, speaking to you, or someone who might be prying, a civilized individual, man, dwarf, elf, goblin, whatever, who seems to show an uncanny knowledge about you.
Well, I will say, I'll bring up Lord Algrit, right? And I say, I mean, I know that Miagral has some spies that have tried to approach me, simply because I've been in her keep. Felt a little. They've asked me some strange questions sometimes about the goings on of the keep, but I don't. I try to keep quiet. I think I do a good enough job of it. That's a 1. This is the second 1 of the session.
Roll again and subtract it.
Oh, this is not good. This is not the time I need to be rolling low. 54. What are they from? I forgot what it is. Does a show non-specific excuse? Just jumps out the window, runs. So Gravity Falls. That's what I need right now.
Non-specific excuse.
I think I left the oven on. I'm gonna.
In Archer they do smoke bomb. They yell smoke bomb.
Yeah,
and run out.
Don't use a smoke bomb.
Yeah.
That's great.
She is. She's angry. Roll. Well, at you, at everything.
Right.
She's angry.
At her general situation that she has to rely on me. Yeah.
Well, and that others are meddling.
Right. Yeah.
I trust you've done your best. But I will begin putting certain assets in place to see to it that Lord Algrid leaves you alone. We can't have our true goal spoiled by some mere noble.
Understood. Agreed.
She is going to pepper you with questions about Lord Algrit, members of the court, magical assistants that he has, and things like that. Is there anything you want to leave out?
No, I don't think so. No.
All right. So,
my honest truth, what I know.
So she basically gets what you know about their magical layout, and she, let's see what she reacted all to Tanzot. Has she heard? There's a moment of perhaps recognition when you mention Tanzot, like she's heard the name or something. Tanzot for our viewers is Lord Algrit's chief magician of the court. Remain safe, as you have promised, and remain vigilant. I or my apprentice will be in touch, either to check on you or to inform you of anything regarding Lord Albert.
Okay.
Oops.
Um,
She turns her back on you, unless you want to stop her.
I was just going to add, as a passing comment, I'm just trying to get in Mia Grall's good grace, maybe to just be.
Earn her favor.
Yeah, I'm trying to earn, Lady Mia Grall's favor. And, she is an enemy of Lord Ogret, so that is part of the problem. But I will, I'm keeping on the sideline. I'm trying not to make myself known too much.
Roll for me.
45. Is that a bad thing to write? I thought that might be a good thing.
Yeah, I can see why you think that. She says, an enemy of my enemy. I'll present myself to Lady Mia Grall.
Oh!
And she turns and goes.
Damn, I didn't think, yeah.
If you had rolled slightly higher, I would have let you stop yourself, but there was nothing definitive about that, knowing that was a mistake.
Right. Giving away that piece of information, yeah. Well, I guess it might have come about anyway when I told her. I guess I told her everything about Ogret. I didn't tell her that Mia Grall, was a long-standing rivalry. That's what I was thinking too when Quinn said Volcano.
So you're kind of good luck with that. And as she leaves,
Fraldrum's gonna be pissed.
Oh my God! I mean, yeah. Kralum's got some interesting news. When are you meeting Fraldrum?
This evening at sunset. Yeah.
I once joined this secret organization that it was so difficult. It was nothing but trouble. It was a difficult. So stupid. So stupid.
Ah!
Oh, it was so stupid. Anyway.
Oh man, I don't even remember what we're doing.
So she takes her leave of you, shuts the door.
Present herself to Mirall. Oops. Okay.
So, yeah. Now what, sir?
Well, I think it's time to properly gear up, have some breakfast, and might finish exploring this section, this kind of bottom floor of the manor, and then we'll just. Actually, Aris, first, how does my leg feel? Does it feel good enough to kind of bounce around on, or do I
the bone feels so much better than it did. That was what you it was a deep ache, and you were really concerned about that, and now that's gone, and there's just some ache in some bruising left. So you feel much better about it.
All right, yeah, then we will gear up and start going down this side of the manor and exploring the courtyard. side of these bottom floor rooms.
Right.
Which I think we said we explored the outer ones, not the.
Right. Do you want so when you say gear up, let's talk about what's your state of readiness?
Sure.
So you're doing Quaff and the plate helm,
Yes.
and you're doing
Spear and target shield.
spear and target shield.
Isn't my belt, daggers on my right side,
Yeah.
Not what I need.
Is there anything you need to replace in that potion slot now that you've used your potion?
That's a good point, and unfortunately, I have some of my potions on my horse. So I think, Attunement Grace, Lie Detection, Shape-Shifting, Face Change, Bone Mending, Protection, Vigor, Courage, Troll Strength. Yeah, I guess I'll put an Acid Cloud potion to replace the one greater healing potion I used.
Yeah.
Another slot too. How many? Vigor, Lie, Major Healing. Okay, I still have one more major healing potion. And yeah. Okay. Yeah, good to revisit that. Onwards.
So yeah, listen to the hall, out in the hall, don't hear anything.
Remove that sword from my inventory. I think I'll just. So it's still kind of like vibrating there, but just the hilt,
Well, she set it down. She wasn't concerned about it. It makes you wonder if it's, you don't know of anything that would protect you from a malfunction. Right. So either she does have some knowledge of how to protect herself against such drains, or she's or the danger has passed.
Right. Or she has so much power.
She doesn't notice it. I lost 30. It's fine.
When you have 1,000 power points, losing 10 is not.
Well, we were talking about that one time about like, given the way that magic works in this world, because it is tiring, having 500 power points, that is magical points of energy, and not having 500 exhaustion, which is impossible. Mm-hmm. It's interesting, but she probably does have 500 exhaustion points.
Something, yeah, that just keeps her more.
Right.
Maybe people back then were just more like, it's like, yeah, back then we had 200 exhaustion. Now,
well, they
millennials have 100. You go outside and you're already tired.
Right. Oh my God, I'm a millennial. But they did a study. This was had to be 15 years ago or so. They did a study looking at musculature and bone strength of early man. And they found out that it's the equivalent of something like a chimpanzee today. And remember that a juvenile chimpanzee can one arm throw a 250-pound trainer across the room. Okay.
I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah. So that they use their muscle, it's use of muscles that then strengthen the bone.
Right.
And so as long as you build them in conjunction, right, which is why steroids can sometimes cause bone break. Your muscle mass exceeds your outpaces the strength of your bones.
Yeah.
And so you wind up taking on too much weight, and the muscle itself causes the bone to bow and break.
Right.
But they said that looking at these findings, that means there's no reason that we couldn't regain all of that strength, both in muscle and bone.
Right.
That's amazing. So you're right. I mean, it's in a sense, right? And it's one of the things
you had to use your body so much more to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that's interesting. It's one of the things that's interesting when they talk about perceptions of Christ, is that there's sort of this sort of very clean, very holy sort of view of him. But what you forget is that this is a guy that he walked everywhere he went. He walked hundreds of miles.
Right.
And so there was one comparison where it was like one of his journeys on foot was like
calves were like this big.
Well, yeah, that sort of thing. Yeah. I mean, it was like a journey from basically like going from Boston to Chicago on foot.
Wow.
is one of the journeys. You
Lord,
know,
yeah.
I forget what it was, but it was. I mean, it's really considerable distances.
Yeah.
But these were walking people and a physical people, and the fact that he was purportedly also a savior, sort of neither here nor there in a sense.
Right.
Very physically fit, you know. Um, so, um, yeah, go out there, quiet. Uh,
Yeah.
you can see in the early light, you can see the glow of the fireworm down,
Right.
you know, just working away. The floor here is cracked where he's sort of explored. He's not really found anything of interest, though. He's eaten a few doorknobs, you know, a few lock stuff
Yeah.
that open. You know, you sort of peek through these holes he's left in doors and so on. And there's the library with all the shelves empty. That, of course, faces the outer yard.
Right.
Um, you go down to the next room. It's a set of double doors open. Um, this seems to be another parlor, and it must open all the way up to um, the all the way up to the bend that leads to the foyer, the front foyer. So really the last room here. So you would be now standing. If you go to the end of this room of this ladies' parlor on the interior, the courtyard side.
Okay.
Toward the end of that, you know, you haven't walked over there yet, but you would be standing over their burrow
Right.
of the toad's burrow. Um, just a thought in case, you know, so you go, you know, watch your footing, see if there's been any cave-ins, if the flooring's uneven, you know, you just,
Sure.
um, so, you know, you do walk in, um, there's a novel type of art on the walls, and that is the natural carved stone, you know, goblin sculpture that we've seen, where they really follow the natural lines of the stone, smooth certain areas, and bring out certain really interesting elements of the stone. But here, unlike anything you've ever seen, there are three pieces suspended by chains
Hmm.
on the wall. You've never seen them suspended. They're always set on a plinth of some sort.
Yeah.
Um, and of course, part of that is so you can walk around the stone and enjoy all of its elements. But here,
Right.
it's, you know, um, it is hung, and that's something you've never seen before. The
I
curtains,
just kind of appreciate it. Yeah. Like.
yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
really striking. You can see an argument for pulling it further from the wall,
Right.
having, you know, some sort of bracket that comes out so there's more distance between the art and the wall, so that you could at least stand underneath it and look at that side that the wall otherwise shields. But it's very interesting. Um, um, as you walk to the third one, roll for me.
87.
Definitively warmer at this end of the room.
Okay.
You kneel down, touch the stone. The stones are warm.
Yeah. Wow.
And of course, the only thing you can think of is that it must be the heat of another
Yeah.
one of those worms,
Radiating. Yeah.
and it's just cooked that whole chamber in there, and then just warmed the floor. The stone, though, seems like, you know, it doesn't seem to, the tile here and everything doesn't seem to yield at all. It seems like there's very good stone still underneath this, a sufficient amount of stone to support, well, the weight of the whole building,
Right.
honestly.
Walk
Not
across.
just you in the room. There's another room on top of you after all. But so here the floor is marked with a board. A couple of different boards. You recognize them as indoor versions of games played by court ladies if they don't wish to play them outside. Um, sort of like what is it called? Cornholing, where you toss the bean bag, and it's forms of that, except you're trying to land on specific squares. It's usually played outside, but here, just in the design and done very beautifully. Where you could also just pass over it as a lovely design.
Yeah.
Is this game board that is over the northern part where the peat is radiating. The part where you entered has a different version. It's a square-shaped board, again designed for high court ladies. This one is typically played inside, and it's a game. It's a square grid, the size of a breakfast table. 4 foot by 4 foot, 5 foot by 5 foot, something like that. And it's played flipping chips and landing on certain values and things like that. And again, it's done so ornately and stylishly that you would pass over it until someone, drew your attention to the fact that this isn't merely a design, it's
Right.
a board. And it's written in Goblin. The drapes here are drawn, but you figure the entrance to the burrow must be probably by the northernmost set of doors. Again, it's 2 sets of double doors that lead out to the courtyard.
Yeah.
So that your company could just flood out, right? If you had 20 or 30 guests in this large room that's, almost 1,000 square feet, then more than 1,000 square feet, then people could just flood out, into whatever outdoor festivities you might have.
Come into the courtyard. Don't mind the toads. It's fine. Or the rats.
Exactly.
It is funny.
Belvedere, come here, Toady. Come here. Who's your
Yeah,
good
those are the
Toady?
pets. Those are the pets.
That's right.
This toad is a collar.
This toad has a collar. If found, run. Oh, that's great.
That's fantastic.
That's excellent. Thank you for the warning.
Found, call for help.
You bet about have me spit up all over my computer. That's fantastic. Call out loud.
Oh man. Okay, so yeah, I'm trying to remember. So I'm on the side when I first came into the house, right?
Yes.
The very first time I saw the first glowing worm.
Yes.
So that means the next room would be like the destroyed room where its burrow is. You're saying?
No, I'm saying it's underneath. The burrow must go underneath this room.
Oh, I see.
Just beyond it would be, it'd be in the corner of the house. Well, those doors at the northernmost part of this parlor is you must be able to open those doors, and when the door swings wide, the northernmost door swings wide, it may even touch the entrance to the burrow, or maybe a few feet up. But certainly the burrow winds or expands down to encompass, say, the top third of this room.
Right.
Underneath, at least.
Yeah. It's hard to visualize, but I get what you mean.
Yeah. So if you take my image right now and my face is the courtyard, then the burrow would be right about there, and your doors would be right there.
Yeah.
But of course, it goes immediately down, very steeply down. And it has to be big enough for these frogs, which are 4.5 feet. They're at your ribs, you could probably ride them for short distances if you would quit killing them.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. Not anymore.
so
Um,
there goes your day as a toad herder. That's you
now I'm
know
a toad hurter.
ah, that's right.
Oh,
You could
okay.
join
Yeah.
my difficult anyway. Um,
We'll keep exploring the rooms then, just along this side.
I think
Um,
you're done.
oh, okay. So that was the
You
last.
would go, yeah, you would go up and around, well, you go out and around, and then boom, there would be the big foyer that then leads to the
I
temple,
see.
right?
Yeah,
The
gotcha.
temple entrance. You'd have the sweeping stairs coming up, and it would lead to the second floor as well as the bedroom.
Gotcha.
Um,
It's all complete.
yeah, so you do have the servants' quarters, which are going to be little cramped little rooms up there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we'll that seems to be the last place then. Um,
do you want to do the? You don't want to go down the burrow, I guess.
well, I guess I could, yeah.
No, I mean, look, I don't. I'm not trying to. If your
So
character,
here's the I am interested in it, but I really don't want to be late, to Fralgrim. I don't want to run into trouble and then have her delayed. So I'm wondering, I guess it is really early still, so
it is. Yeah, I mean, you've probably spent a couple of hours. You
right.
do. I guess you do have the problem of if that earthworm follows you into that courtyard, it is going to be an inferno.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
as soon. Roll for me.
50.
Which begs the question: why hasn't it been an inferno already?
Yeah. I was thinking that too. It's already melted wood and stuff. Surely it would catch plants on fire.
Especially, yeah, all this tall brush.
Yeah.
So what's keeping it? Maybe the frogs kept it at bay, and they just sort of had. I don't know if an understanding would even be the right word.
Right.
Um, I guess it could have found some whatever if it is eating out of the rocks. It could have found a great vein of that and kept going.
Maybe it's just very slow. It takes a month for it to finish it. Yeah.
Yeah, and so the frogs left it, and they don't mind it warm, and you know, um, yeah, this is one of those instances where like invisibility would be lovely, right? You could just
Yeah.
go down there and
Yeah. So on the pretext that would probably cause a lot of trouble, me going down there, let's explore the servants' quarters
okay.
instead, and then yeah, we'll see where that takes us. So I believe
All
that
right.
was going back to the servants' stair, right, and going up to the next.
Yes, going up going up, and then boom.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
On the up and up.
so another door, so you go out, and then up all the way to the third floor where the dormers are. Immediately, there's immediate sense of deprivation and being cramped and this sort of thing. There's a door here, no doubt, to muffle sounds in both directions. It's open. All the doors are open all the way down.
Okay.
I should say, I need you to choose a side if you're going to go left or right, east or west.
Yeah.
So, right side?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you said? All right. So, that'll be the east side. And you can tell that basically it seems the last thing that was up here walking would apparently be that dark lash that you intimidated.
Right.
Roll for me.
56.
Which occurred to you then, how has the dark lash avoided the constructs all this time too?
Yeah.
Of course, maybe he's a newcomer, but who knows?
Right. If it's been around everywhere, or unless maybe senses them, and knows not to go over there.
I mean, you can obviously see them. They're not very subtle.
Right.
Um,
How smart is the Dark Lash also to avoid them? It's
right.
kind of brings up a lot of questions.
But you can see his clawed marks in the dust. All the doors have been open. So you feel better about at least there's probably nothing to fight that he hasn't already driven off or killed. But you just go down and they're just, small bedrooms, sometimes all the furniture is still here in various shapes. And it's basically, a dormer window and a small, a bed and a small table,
Yeah.
you know. Um,
And Brees just like looks at him like, servants. Oh my gosh! Why am I even up here?
that's right.
I've never even been to a servant's quarters.
This is why they invented fire.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's good Lord, how many rooms would be up here? Probably 12 foot. Yeah, I mean there'd probably be more than 30 rooms here,
Yeah.
and then another 30 rooms on the inside, on the other side. But you just go down quietly, you know.
Peek inside of each room.
The Dark Lash, about 6 rooms down, on the exterior side on the right, you has clearly sort of lashed his way through some shockingly thick cobwebs that filled one room. And you immediately think of the giant spider you fought in the
Nasty.
but there doesn't seem to be evidence of a battle or anything. It's just been a long dead nest. Um, no real sign of prey or anything caught in the webs. No people, no bodies or husks.
Yeah.
And that finishes this side.
All right.
Swing back through to the other side. Again, the Dark Lashes, clawed footprints. All the doors are open. And you find about 3 rooms in, you're now on on 3 rooms in on the western side of the house, on the outer yard side of the house, not the courtyard side. There's no doubt that the Dark Lash set up some sort of snare for birds. And unfortunately, he isn't able to check the fact that he's killed 3 or 4 birds now with his snare.
Wow.
And so they apparently do some trapping. And it's a wicked little, crudely made sort of spiked bar that comes down on top of the birds' heads as they feed in this trough that's sort of been crudely carved from wood. There were old dry berries and things, now dried berries in there, but he's caught 3 birds at each of these snares. At total among these snares that he's put in this room. He's opened the windows and everything, and just made it tempting.
Yeah.
So you take an opportunity to look out at the outer yard. Nothing really appears changed. Roll for me.
51.
You hear voices in a tree, and they're definitively the Fae. They've moved to a tree. You're at the beginning again. You're at the southernmost part of the house where you met them. Was halfway up, a little more than halfway up.
Yeah.
And they're clearly talking again. They clearly are sort of following your progress from the treetops.
Right.
Can't see them, but you know which tree they're in. You're trying not to look at them. You're just trying to look out and about.
Can I hear them pretty clearly?
No, just the fact that they're discussing something. There is a note of debate.
Yeah, I'll do another Ears of the Hare. Cast that. Let's try my channeling helm. See if it's working now. Give it a shake. Rub it a little. How's it going?
It is now a +2 channeling adder.
I see. That's fine. That's an interesting consequence. I like that.
You would like it better if it happened to someone else. And I'm just throwing out a name, but like Quinn.
Fairlag.
If it happened to Quinn, that would be terrific.
Yeah, terrific. Interesting. Okay. So I don't want to get too technical here, but I know I can only have one adder at a time.
Yes.
I have a water skin that's a +3 with 3 slots. Now this is +2. So how does that work? Can I
if you use you attune to the
it's attuned. That's right.
You attune to the +3, that's your one. Until you attune to another one, and then you have to wait that 24 hours, and then that's the one you're using.
I see.
So roll your attunement, and you'll get a +3 back.
Yeah, let's try that right now.
All right.
Attune to this water skin, 76.
That works.
Okay.
So you're back with a +3.
So I'm going to write down +3 channeling damage, not attuned. Is there some kind of limit to attunement, or is just some items attuned, some aren't?
How do you mean limit to attunement?
I D&D, it says like 3 items you can attune to. This one, I guess, 1 adder I can attune to.
Right. It depends on the item. It depends on the item type.
Based on the item type, okay.
Just sure. So like
I've been keeping track of the maximum number of attunements. So.
Right. So like if you were to find a wand, rod, staff, something like that, you could attune to it, but you can only be attuned to one of that type of item. Right. Wizards can actually be attuned to 2, like full on, not split users, but full. They can't use 2 simultaneously, but they can be attuned to 2 at any one time. And then for a lot of other items, like a lot of the warrior items and things like that, I said, these items would never have arisen if they required any sort of magical skills of any sort. So those, you touch them, they're yours. You understand them, you can use them. So there's just some things where
the attunement is like requiring a knowledge of magic, some kind of bond you form with it. Yeah.
Right. Okay, it basically allows you to, just send it mental commands. I mean,
right. All right, cool. Then we'll use that water skin.
Dear God, I'm such a bad game master.
Okay.
I mean, it's a long shot, but shit.
I like hearing how you're bad at things, so please tell us and everyone.
Hey, I wonder where Nalkarth was when Verilag visited.
Oh my gosh, you're so right. Oh, I completely forgot about Nalkarth.
You would have probably hung it up, or at least propped it up, out of respect for him.
Right.
But she stayed far away from your stuff, is the other thing. I mean, she was like 60 feet away, and she turned her back on you most of the time. Roll for me.
Yeah. 98.
Great. Your thought is, oh my God, I have to be more careful with that.
Yes.
And seemingly, meeting her, like whenever you can meet her at her entrance, upon her entrance, if you meet her, you can prevent her from going further into your stuff and things.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. But she was, I mean, she kept her back to you most of the time. Her side was to your stuff most of the time.
It'd be so funny if like I'm talking to her and Nalakar just like hops up and is like, "Yeah, that's her. That's
That's right. Get her.
that's my old master." Oh
Snicker.
my!
What are you doing?
Ixnay on the
Right.
Airlag Bay.
So there was no apparent reaction. You have realized your error. And, again, it's just one of these things where, you realize you're just walking on thin ice the whole time
Right.
in this situation.
Right.
So you might leave yourself here a note, and
absolutely.
then while you do that, I can roll for your spell casting if you want.
Yeah, sure.
What level is Ears of the Hair?
8th level. Although I'm casting it. Wait a sec. I'm so silly. Why am I talking about using a channeling? It's nature's law, isn't it?
Oh, is it in the tome?
No, it's not. It's where is it? I can never remember.
That's
It's
probably
in the detection one.
Oh, in the tome?
Eyes of the Spirit. Yeah, it's a tome. I don't know why I'm even talking about channeling. Okay.
No.
Anyway, yeah. Pull up the tome and cast it.
You needed to do that anyway with the thing, so that's all fine.
Right. Now we've done that.
You cast it. Only cost you 3 exhaustion points. You did a very good job. Yep. Do you want to take off your coif?
Sure. Yeah. So you
pull it down.
The ears just like sprout, like ow, oh, jeez.
That's right.
Take off the coif.
We got to watch Bugs Bunny and where he's the knight against Yosemite Sam. Oh golly! Whoa, dragon! Oh man, dragons is so stupid. I love Yosemite Sam and that. Oh, he's so mad at that dragon. So yeah, your hearing heightens, and the discussion starts. Well, they're probably just as evil. That's probably why they're friends. No one's that evil. Humans are. We've heard it 100 times. They capture us. They torture us.
Wow.
We could still warn her. How many times have you felt that kind of chill in the air? None. She deserves to be warned. Humans get what they get. How do you know the other one's just not as evil? Because my wings didn't tremble. That's why. That other one is evil. Well, they sure look friendly with each other. I'm going to tell her. If you tell her, I'll tell on you. Then you'll tell on yourself.
I cancel Ears of the Hair. I'm like, shut up! I can't stand this. I mean, I'll wait there like for a minute. My impatience is probably they're just gonna bicker until
right. No, I do try. I'm trying to get better about rolling when a resolution will occur. Right, because you sort of you'll get caught up in just sort of playing it out.
Right.
But you need to know how long it's going to be, and you should just make a determination. So I can tell you right now that my roll of 170 says that it's actually going to be over quickly. Like how quickly is it going to be over was the question. So there is a burst from the trees, and one of the females is flying towards you. The boy is chasing after her, trying to grab her foot, and they come to, and the boy's like, "Don't say anything," and the girl, not the leader of the group, but the other one whose name I've forgotten, says to you, "You shouldn't have anything to do with that other woman.
Oh.
She's really evil. We can feel it. We have that ability." She means to harm, well, everything.
Yeah. I know. I say, whoa, well, good to didn't see you there. Good to make yourself known. How would I word it?
Fly into my mouth.
Yeah. The orcs say you're a delicacy. Oh. I tell her that I wish I could have nothing to do, but unfortunately, I am forced to serve her, and so I must act, act the part.
I must
Uh,
pretend to be her friend.
right, right, or else I might be the force of her malice or the target of her malice.
Oh, I told you. Be careful. And sticks her tongue out at the boy, flies back into the tree. The boy huffs at you and then flies off.
Okay.
Um, Hearing tells you it sounds like these rooms are empty.
Yeah.
Also tells you that most of the windows are closed. You don't hear air passing through.
Mm.
What would you like to do?
So if the rest of the servants' rooms are empty, are open.
Well, you're only a third of the way through.
Oh, yeah, no, then we'll continue
Yeah.
exploring, peering inside each room.
Yeah.
So
It's
we
just a careful, cautious walk down.
right.
And they all have their furniture. All the rooms are, all the windows are closed with the exception of the one that he set up for the bird snare.
Right.
Um, but he basically, checked all these rooms himself. You can see his claws coming up and down
Yeah. Okay.
in the dust.
It's funny what he might have found. I got from him, possibly.
Right.
Yeah. So.
Um, so, it's late morning, not really noon, but it's late morning because you got up so early. This house, with the exception of the burrow,
Right.
is largely explored.
Thoroughly explored. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I don't want to start exploring the guest houses. That seems it's going to be dangerous. Why don't we just go back to camp and take it easy the rest of the day until we talk with Fraldrim?
It is, of course, there are forests around here. There's also, you can cut through the forest without being seen.
Right.
It is possible that there's other elements of the estate. There could be other riding. There could be other riding stables like that.
Yeah, things like that. Yeah.
Right. And so long as you stay out of sight of those.
I did find like that path with a bench, and underneath were the spectacles of sophistication. Right. Or no, there was some mithril spectacles.
It was mithril spectacles. That's right. And you gave those as a gift later, didn't you?
Yeah, to the people of the soil. So.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that then. I still have enough time. We can exit through the back and do perimeter kind of around the whole estate.
And you could do now, of course, the estate at this level, I guess, at this elevation, right? You'll probably find paths that lead down. They're probably, as you just your knowledge of estates and how they go, right? If the slope beyond the guest houses permits, they would be riding trails, walking trails like that, sort of set aside for the guests.
Right.
And so that leads to questions of stables. Are there servants' quarters? Are there servants' quarters in the homes, up in the dormers, or are they set aside? Sometimes, special servants, servants of higher rank get their own little cottages. So those are all possibilities. And you could cut through the woods directly across the outer yard, right? And then maneuver beside the westmost house and stay out of sight of the constructs.
Yeah.
And of course, Nalani, your falcon familiar, can always help you, scout and patrol and things like that. Roll for me.
Okay. 40.
And you are never going to get this. It's driving me crazy. But I give you a shot every day.
Every day? What, seriously?
Yeah, every
How
day.
am I not? What is it?
Um, so,
Yeah,
yeah,
I roll a 95 and then I wake up realizing this was all a dream.
that's it. That's the
roll.
past. What do we do? It's almost 8 weeks now.
Okay.
Um,
So yeah, let's exit the back of the manor and cut into the woods, and we'll start circling around.
So launch Nalani, and where do you want her to go? Do you want her to keep an eye on the constructs? Do you want her to?
Yeah, let's first try to pinpoint where they are. See if they are kind of where the fairy said they kind of patrol their own houses, going back and forth. I might have to get a little closer if she's going to go that far, right? If I'm at the back of the manor, is that 300?
So it's sort of, yeah, but you'll have to, probably close about about halfway up the long manor. You feel like, because you'll feel that weird tugging sensation. We're like, oh, you got to get back to me.
Mm-hmm.
So she flies atop the house, and sure enough, there is you remember the Fae told you about sort of a feathered serpent, kind of Chinese dragony kind of creature up on the roof of the middle one. And sure enough, there is a nest. There is eggs in the nest, and they are identical to the eggs you found in the ballroom.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
The creature itself is gone, but it does suggest that Nalani needs to be really careful.
Yeah.
She can't get too close to that nest, or Mama Bird Dragon Chinese Kung Pao.
It's anything like Chinese parents that I know.
That's right. Helicopter parents.
All over, yeah.
Tiger moms.
Tiger mom, right. Asian tiger mom.
I know a tiger mom. I mean, she's fully culturally American, but she's a American Korean, but one of the things she would do with her boys that they loved is she would pretend to be a tiger and chase them, and it was just the most adorable thing.
That is adorable.
Except
that her boys were 18 and 19 years old.
That's the weird thing. That's the weird thing there.
Mom, stop!
Like, I thought they were like their faces lit up when I would come to visit the kids, but boy, when their mom started growling, like, oh my gosh, their faces would light up. I'm like, boy, it puts me to shame right there. But it's wonderful to see.
Sorry, so did you say the dragon's in its nest?
No.
No, just that I see them. Okay.
Yeah. There are 3 or 4 eggs. You tell Nalani you have got to stay out of sight, stay below the roof line. Don't go near that roof. Don't go near that particular roof. So here, as it approaches midday, each construct is standing with its sword drawn, placed on the ground, hand on hilt, like this, right?
Yeah.
And they're facing out over the valley. They're standing dead center of their house, somewhat forward from the entrances. And so, you can see how, it might be necessary for them to actually be still through some of the working hours of the day, or otherwise they'd just be in the way. You would,
Right. Boom. Ow. Jeez.
Right. I've got to trim the yard. I have to get out of the way.
Maybe they're recharging.
That's it. There's a charging station. They're Teslas. That's it. There. It's a USB charger, and that stands for there's got to be some magical thing we can do, right? USB charger for the constructs stands for you
Universe.
stand bot. No, I don't know what it's supposed to be. Um, Quinn said that his face would light up when she chased him too. Um, so the so they're standing there. I mean, be interesting to see if they reacted to noise, I guess.
Right, or anything. Yeah.
I don't know. It's up to you. She can make
Mm,
it from your.
yeah.
She can make it basically to the roof line, not much past the houses. They are standing just motionless. Um, you don't know if you have enough control to like to grab something and drop it on their heads.
Yeah.
That's early days yet to try something like that, probably. Um, but and I want to remind you, it is 9. I don't want to keep you.
Yeah. I was gonna say we can explore a little more, get a little bit closer, and then see if we find anything, and if not, then we'll maybe call it a day. And then
So
next session we can turn to the keep and see what has exploded there.
right. So yeah, you keep her on the rooftop watching, and you're gonna creep forward.
Yes.
Okay. Roll the creep. I mean, you're too far away to attract their attention in all likelihood. But
48.
and what's in your hands?
I want to be good at creeping, so I would just have my shield, not even my spear, and we'll say the quaff is off too, just so I can hear and
Yeah.
make sure.
You can tell that some stones over the years have tumbled down off the slope. You're about halfway. You're directly across now from the entrance to the main manor. You can have her fly much further out.
Okay.
So she takes flight. You kind of want her to do, I'm guessing you want her to do kind of a hopping, no more soaring in this area.
Right.
Keep
low to the ground and don't fly for long periods of time.
Yeah. She does one swoop because you're thinking, all right, the slope beyond does seem gentle enough where they might do riding and walking trails.
Yeah.
There's definitely some evidence of that. Roll again for sneaky sneak.
75.
Doing fine. You are now up in the woods. Sort of, you've kept sort of at the edges where you can still see the general layout of things. Mm-hmm. You have intercepted a trail of the Delvain, of the half human, half maggot like people that go into the woods.
Step over that.
It does seem freshly used. It is still moist. You wish you had more experience with them to know, like, how long does it take for these to dry out?
Yeah.
So you step over it. You then come across another one, and you're like, right, I remember there were 2 that arced across the yard. Nalani has stopped, as done these hopping sort of things, you stop and concentrate and let her do it, then tell her to stay put. Um, and she comes across this black, thick haze that's rising over a part of the slope. There's too much vegetation and so on, but she can look up over the treetops. She can see that it sort of dissipates there, but it gets thicker as it goes down. It moves. It just doesn't move like smoke. It's like a smoke that's so thick that it just doesn't rise as quickly.
Yeah.
It is several hundred feet away from her, which makes it, I mean, it's got to be probably almost 1,000 feet for you, if not more.
So it's just like this kind of smoky haze that's crawling like over the treetops.
Not moving. It's stationary.
Yeah.
It seems to rise very slowly and then dissipate. But there's always something producing it. But it's just I mean, it has a heaviness and almost a viscosity to it that just does not seem right. You know, it's like one of my favorite real life, ghost stories, claims, right? Is this it was in a house that was believed to be haunted or whatever, and this family moved in. Like, it's supposed to have really happened, and the smoke travels toward the fan.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, that's
really cool.
That would produce an athletic response. That is hilarious. That is my new response for my new term for fear. But that would produce an athletic response.
Athletic response. It's better. Look at this body,
I would immediately become a sprinter, Olympic level.
I'll take it up.
That's right.
Okay. Well, that's a good, interesting kind of mystery spot to leave off on.
Yes. So you are
next time.
You are now even with the entrances of the 3 manors.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So you feel like you're in a good spot. I don't doubt you've probably come across the second trail of the Delvane by now, and stepped over it. You've probably come across some discarded items in the woods from the house.
Sure.
So you're in the woods, creeping around. I mean, we'll call it, late morning.
Good.
Well, there you go. Well, gang, it's sort of, that's right, Quinn. Either of those would work. There you go, guys. Kind of an interesting little episode, knocking out the manor finally after a good long while. And don't you love to look at me and my setup here?
Oh,
I'm beautiful.
Gorgeous.
So thanks for joining us yet again. I know Max and I appreciate it. And we will be back next week. Thanks for hanging out with us this week. If you think we're doing a good job, you can go to that link there at Donor Box and send us a little money. If you want to see more of Max, and he's so charming, why not? You can find him at his YouTube channel there, and where he discusses the role of video game music inside of the game. And thanks as always to Elliot Donovitz for their terrific art on Brise's character. And you can find more of her work at artstation.com/Tortolua. And I've written a book, and I really enjoyed it. And I hope you do too. Max, why don't you say goodbye to these lovely people?
Yeah, everybody, thanks for coming out, for sticking around, and we'll see you on the 31st.
Yes.
Hopefully returning to the keep, or maybe not. We'll see.
Right.
Never know with Karandrin.
Right. We definitely have some more adventuring to do, and then we'll probably get back into some of the court politics. regarding Verilag and what to do with Verilag, um, and Far Mars capture. I mean, there's a lot to untangle if we make it back to Meagraw's Keep. In the meantime, we hope you have a great week, and we thank you guys for just hanging out with us. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.